Well, good morning. It's a rainy morning here at my place. It's 34 days, 34 working days before I leave to go to Alice Springs in Patua. So I'm counting those down because as a project manager, I'm very, very concerned that I get my project finished before I leave, or at least get the objectives that we want achieved by then. So I'm counting it in working days at the present time. Anyways, you might be wondering how we're going with the budget tour build. Well, we can kind of summarize. The roof rack was already on the car. We've got a set of recovery boards mounted. The car keeps locking itself on me. I'm trying to unlock it. We've got a UHF radio installed. We've got a sand flag mount installed up on the roof rack. Inside we've got lots of stuff installed, a bit messy in here at the moment because I'm working in here. Lots of dust from sanding. We've got a HF radio installed, we've got a VHF radio installed, we've got a UHF radio installed. We've got mounting for our navigation system, and our navigation system is all set up. As I say, a little bit dusty in here. I've been sanding in the back, so I'll have to give it a good vacuum out. Alright, so into the messy back area, we've got a water tank installed. We've got the wiring run from the auxiliary battery but not yet put into place. It's just there to test a few things. We've got the back boxes built with a cutout here for access to the HF radio and to the fridges and for ventilation for the fridges. We might put some kind of mesh in there. So we come back to the back area. What have we done here? We've lifted the floor up to allow storage. In this case we've got recovery gear underneath there. We've got some tire tools. We've installed 2 Titan drawers which are slowly being filled up. I've installed a cutting board here on a couple of pins so it doesn't move. It's presently still wrapped in plastic, but you get the idea. That way the bottom drawer, which generally holds tools and kind of that sort of stuff, can be used as a table. Pull it out to about here. Another table will be installed there to cover this area, be pulled down, and so you've got kind of 2 work areas in this space here, and you've got the fridges available to you right next door. The fridges have been running for a number of days, and all is good there. So that's all looking really good. A little bit of storage area here. Got to put some protective material on the fridges. Bit of storage here. In this case it's got the toilet tent in there. Still got a little bit of trimming to do, finishing off the back area of that, or where you see that ply. What else have we got to do? We've got to fit the HF antenna mount. So, Kmart and ARB, what a saga. Seriously, I was just watching a young fellow talking about his concerns about his interactions with four-wheel drive supplier that supplies Kings. I can't remember, four-wheel drive superstore or something I think they call themselves. Let me tell you about the saga with Kmart and ARB. Last year I ordered a HF antenna mount for this Prado 120. Now in the past Kmart have recommended that you fit a spacer to bring your tyre away from the car somewhat, and then the HF antenna mount goes in there. So last year I had a conversation with them and said, well actually you have 2 parts in your catalogue that the whole four-wheel drive community knows fit a Prado 120, but you don't know fits a Prado 120, and you never recommend it, but it just bolts straight on here. That's the one I want. So they said to me that they would make it. They said, okay, we don't have that in stock, we'll have to make it for you. Alright, so 3 months later, I phone and say, what's happening? ARB rings Kmart. Kmart say, according to ARB, Kmart says, we can't find it on the shelf. And I said, well, of course you can't. You said you were going to make it. So this saga went on for a little while, no success. Got to this year and I said, that's it, cancel the order. I don't want the thing. I'll make my own. But I don't have a welder these days. I have to get myself one. So I thought, I'll make my own, but then eventually I said, you know what, I'm just going to go. If Kmart can't get me the one I want, and they recommend a certain one that has the spacer on the door, then I'll get that. I didn't want the spacer on the door because ultimately I'm going to move the spare, but also the spacer puts more strain on the door, which is already liable to break. So, in my opinion. So, I contacted ARB again and said, listen, can I order the one Prado recommends? It's these 2 parts, blah, blah, blah. Sure, no problem. Can you get it to me by a certain time? And they didn't. So I had a phone call with them. They said, look, we've got to go through head office. We don't order it directly from Kmart. We've got to go to head office. Head office orders it, comes from Kmart. So I rang Nicole at Kmart. Said, hey, these 2 parts, do you have them? Yes, I have them sitting on the shelf. I can get them out to you tomorrow, except that they no longer sell retail. So she actually said to me, go to another retailer and order it from them. Now, as I understand it, the only 2 retailers that they sell to in Australia are ARB and TJM. I've had a very long relationship with ARB, so I said, no, I'll just go back to ARB and I'll say to them, what the heck, she's got them on the shelf, why can't you get them to me next week? So I had that phone conversation with ARB, and they said, we have to go through head office. The earliest we can get them to you is May. I said, go and talk to your head office. Tell them I want them by Easter, April, middle of April. They did that. They came back and said, yeah, we can get them to you by mid-April. So it's now almost mid-April. It's early April. I phoned them yesterday, the day before. What's the progress? They'll be here on May the 6th or something, they said. I said, well, hang on. We agreed they're going to be here in April. Head office says I'll be here May the 6th. Well, can't you just call Nicole and order them from Kmart? No, we have to go through head office. So at that point I said to them, you know what? I'm not going to deal with ARB anymore, and I'm not going to recommend them to my customers. And the fellow that I was talking to at the time said, but it's over one product, you're going to do that? I said, mate, it's not about a product. You know, I'm a lean professional, and let me tell you something. This is about customer value. If your processes don't deliver value to your customer, you need to change your processes, right? That's a lesson that's been learned by the likes of Toyota a long, long time ago. I said to him, it's not about me and the product. It's not that at all. I can't recommend a business, and I can't use a business that says, our process is this, to hell with your value. Which is exactly what they're saying. They're saying, we don't care if you want it or need it by a certain date so that you can prep your vehicle. Our process is this, and we will follow that process. Even though, if we didn't follow that process, we could get it to you in the time that you want. That, my friends, is a broken business model. So, ended the relationship. And look, I encourage you all to have those conversations with suppliers. You know, their profit depends on them delivering value to us as consumers. It doesn't depend on them following a process. And I said, look, I don't need to know the politics. I don't need to know why ARB needs to go through head office to order something from Kmart. All I can tell you is that provides me, as a consumer, no value. You going through your head office provides me no value. In fact, it actually subtracts from the value, potential value. I've had these products on order for months and months and months, and you're telling me you can't deliver them because you have to go through a certain process, despite the fact that the supplier tells me she could get them to me tomorrow. So, you know, there are lots of reasons why we need to, as consumers, say enough is enough, you know. And you know, I've had a very long relationship with ARB. I'm not picking on ARB here, but I am giving them some business advice, you know, and I'll be happy to re-establish that relationship when they come back to me and say, you know what, we learned our lesson. our business processes are being changed so that we can deliver value to our customers rather than a business process following a certain order for whatever reason, internal reason that we decide is appropriate. Anyway, that's my kind of rave for today. We'll get around to finishing off the tourer. So what has to go? Well, next thing, as I've said many times before, is tyres. And we'll talk to you about what choices we made and why we made them when we do that episode. So tyres are definitely the next thing. You've heard I've got suspension on order. When that arrives, we'll do the fit of that. We have to do the diff drop as well because we're going for a 3-inch lift, which puts some strain on the CBs unless you do a diff drop. And beyond that, I don't know. It depends on the budget. But the tyres are critical. We also have to finish the interior here where the water tank is and put more storage in there. I've got a couple ideas about how I'm going to do that. Alright, that's the budget tourer build update. Catch you later.